Yeah.
Good morning, Africa. An explosive morning here. We're discussing VR, AR technologies from Joburg. Joined with Gerald Ferreira here, the CEO of Virtual Realities, to discuss this and more with us. Welcome, Gerald.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
I'm excited. I see all this set up here in studio, VR technologies. Tell me, what is virtual reality?
Dan, virtual reality is a technology that allows us to experience reality in virtual reality. So what that basically means, we can create a computer environment and then experience it through virtual reality glasses as if it's real.
Right. For the people that are streaming our show today, what do they need to explore and experience this environment here?
So what we did, Dan, is we actually brought in some of our cameras. We have, I think, 3 or 4 different virtual reality or 360-degree cameras in the studio, and we are basically at the moment streaming the show live on my Facebook page as well. So listeners can go to the page and they can actually see what is happening in the studio, and that will give them an idea of virtual reality in a 360 video. So they can basically look around, up and down, and explore the studio and see we while we are chatting.
So these technologies, I've seen them quite a bit in education, technology, healthcare, on-the-job training. How do you get started with these technologies if you're a person who's interested in all this technology here, be part of the VR revolution, AR or XR?
So I'm just going to break it down a little bit more on the different types of virtual reality that you get.
Right.
I think that will lead to answer the question. So basically, we've got 3DOF virtual reality, which basically means that you put on the virtual reality goggles. Yes. And you watch a video. So usually it's a 360-degree video, so you can basically look around, up, down, left, right, but you are actually a spectator. So you cannot really move and interact with the stuff. With 6DOF virtual reality, which is the high-end virtual reality, that's the reality that I love.
Right.
You can scan a room, for instance, like a studio, and then people can move freely inside the studio. They can pick up stuff, move stuff around, and so on. So basically, that's the cool stuff. So what people need to do is they need to decide what version of VR they are interested in. The mobile VR, the 3D VR, is basically very affordable. So if you've got like a Samsung phone, you already have the brains of the system. So then you just need glasses, and then you use your phone and the glasses to view the VR. A system like that could start, once you have the phone, it starts at about 500 for a good Samsung virtual reality headset. Right. Then you get Google Cardboard as well. So the Google Cardboard basically is a device made of cardboard with the lenses. So again, you use your phone to enable you to see 3DOF virtual reality. High-end virtual reality, you have to purchase there's 2 big players. It's Oculus Rift and HTC Vive, which is a computer-based virtual reality system. So that starts at about, I think, in overseas you pay about $799 for a Vive system, and for an Oculus Rift, it's I think there's a special running at the moment. I think it's about $350 US.
Right. Just to retract a bit, just before the show, you told me you were in Germany. That should have been exciting. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yes, so that was really very exciting. So we were invited by ACCO. It's one of the biggest agricultural companies in the world, to basically create a high-end virtual reality system for them, and it's for a product that they call Farm in a Box. So basically what we did is we created this game. So it's a container that contains a tractor and implements and also spare parts and an office and all these things. So we created a game where, or experience where a helicopter comes in and it drops off the container, right in front of a person. So people would look at this container and then walk back as if they are scared because it feels so real. And then the
Right.
container will drop and the tractor will come out and all that stuff. And then it will tell people what Farm in a Box is about. And after they've run through this tutorial or this educational part in the experience, then they can actually move freely and they can go to the tractor, get up onto the tractor, they can drive it, they can go into the container, explore it, pick up a computer where they can watch a video about this. So we took this to Germany and we were at the Messe Berlin show, the International Green Week, and there's about 400,000 people that comes through this show, and we got to show them virtual reality. I think we were the only company there with this high-tech virtual reality, and the Germans absolutely loved it. It was so cool.
Interesting. So if I want to get started with VR as an entrepreneur myself, what opportunities are there around in that market space that I could start exploring, or things that I could start exploring?
So again, there's different types of VR. One of the easiest VRs to get into is probably 360-degree photography.
Right.
So that is typically your Google Street View. I don't know if you probably used Google Street View before.
Yes.
So that's a very basic form of virtual reality. But it's also interesting to note that Google is actually the biggest VR company in the world. They've created this Street View for almost any country in the world. So as an entrepreneur, you can start by going to guest houses, automotive dealers, hotels, real estate, and start photographing these places in 360 degrees. And then you can use the Google platform to upload that photos into Google Maps and stuff like that.
Right.
And then your tech shows, so obviously you know how important it is today for social media and getting exposure and stuff like that. So just as a side example, we did last year we went to New Zealand for holiday, and there was a South African restaurant in Te Pau in New Zealand, and then I took a 360 photo there and I put it up. And right after we left, about a month later, I saw suddenly that specific spot received 300,000 views. So I think at the moment it stands close to 1 million views. That indirectly was a result of that 360 photo, and it's a VR experience as well. So that is one of the easy victories. Then you get 360 video. So there's a lot of filming guys in South Africa. So basically they need to get a 360-degree camera, and then they need to learn how to edit 360-degree video.
Right.
But there's a huge market. I think companies see the value. It's like if you've got an asset and you want to take it somewhere, if it's a big asset, it's almost impossible, and it can cost a lot of money. So with VR, you can capture that asset or that space, and you can just take it there. So I think there's a big opportunity for South Africans interested in starting VR to start on that side of the spectrum. And then lastly, so then there's the high-end VR stuff. So basically that is you need to be a programmer or you have to have 3D modeling skills. And then you basically, it's similar to game creation. So you create that environment in a software package like Unity or Unreal, and then you can actually create games or experiences for companies. On a last note, we have quite a lot of big clients. I'll maybe name them later in the interview.
So you can go now.
So we've got like Standard Bank, we've got Absa Bank, we've got Nedbank, we've got Discovery, we've got Acco, Massey Ferguson. We're busy. We're doing something big for Mahindra. We're just busy starting with a big German automotive manufacturer. So our clients is really the big corporates, and they are looking for training solutions. They are looking for marketing solutions. They are looking for staff induction solutions and all that sort of things. So I think on the development side, which is a bit more complicated, that's actually where the fun is, and actually that's where the money is, and that is where the industry is going towards.
So how do I find a good company to do VR work with? Say, I'm a client in healthcare, and somebody. Well, what are the things that you should look for in a company that does VR to produce work for you?
So I think one of the best ways to see if a person or company is excelling in virtual reality is to actually let them demonstrate their capability to you. So basically, if they've made solutions previously, they should put you into that solution so that you can see the quality of the experience and also see how immersive it is for yourself. So one of our, let me give you a trade secret.
Right.
So one of our trade secrets is we invite companies to come to our offices. We've got a setup there that has all the tech there. And then once they accept the invitation and they come there and we show them the stuff that we've done, then it's most likely that they will sign up. I think we've got a 99% sign-up rate for clients that comes into the experience and see that for themselves.
That's impressive. And then in terms of turnaround times when you're working on a project?
So I think that is a very good question. So I think probably you are thinking 6 months, 9 months to create a decent VR project. But the agencies out there, usually they have a very tight deadline. So in most cases, we create high-end solutions in 2 weeks.
Right.
And it's like thinking of an Xbox game and knowing the guys created that game in 2 weeks. So that's one of our key things at the moment is doing agencies and getting the work done and not necessarily sacrificing on quality.
Now, what about people that don't have VR headsets? For instance, people streaming this show, it's broadcasting across the world in VR and they don't have headsets. What then?
So the nice thing about the 360-degree video, which we are doing here in the studio today, is that they can watch it on their phones. So they can, the phone, if their phone's got a gyroscope on it, they can basically view it, turn around, up and down, and look at it in that way. And then on the application, there should actually be a virtual reality icon. So if they do have the devices, they can switch to that and they can view it like that. But yeah, it's not. It's totally different. When you see it on your screen, it looks like we are small and it's just a normal video. When you put it on the headset, that's when it pops, and that's when you can see, oh, this is a life-size person, and you can zoom into detail and that sort of stuff.
Right. Then there's two other concepts that usually come tagged with VR. There's AR and XR. Can we start with the AR? Like, what is it?
So another big and exciting industry, very similar to virtual reality, is augmented reality. So in virtual reality, your field of view gets overlaid with computer stuff. So you are inside that environment. With augmented reality, you still see reality, so you still see the real world, but digital information gets overlaid onto your vision. So basically, that is augmented reality. So if you look at something, you can get digital information about that product or that something that you look at. That's basically what augmented reality is.
I see. So the experience of augmented reality, do you need any specialized skills to be able to work with?
So again, I think we are with this technology, we are in. If you compare it to the smartphone industry, we are probably in 1995 when smartphones were still bricks, and so augmented reality and virtual reality is an old technology, but for the first time we are basically able to use it commercially. So the technology is still very new, but I think it will get extremely advanced, and it has the potential of creating, of making us superhumans. So I think at the moment it's used for very basic stuff, where you've probably have a business card. You take your smartphone, you look at the business card, and augmented reality pops up, and it gives you information, extra information. But if we're looking at the automotive industry, for example, then the potential there is that anyone can have a glasses on. They can look at a car. It can tell them what type of car it is. Um, if they open the boot, they can look at the engine. It can give them information on the engine right in the visual field of view. If something is wrong with the car, it could potentially show the person how to fix that part in that environment. So I think on on public side, we are exposed to very basic AR at the moment, but in certain companies, they are actually using augmented reality as part of their production process, and that sort of stuff.
Then are the trends that you've seen across the continent? I know perhaps you travel with this kind of technology from time to time. Are they trends that we're seeing across the continent where the technology is being used outside, enhancing customer experience, for instance, or training?
Yeah, so I'm going to probably answer you with a long answer again. So basically, what like I said, we went to New Zealand last year, early part, and I actually went and visited several augmented reality and AR companies in New Zealand. What is interesting is Peter Jackson, that's created Lord of the Rings and that stuff. He is investing a lot of money in the virtual reality industry and augmented reality industry in New Zealand. So I was very surprised to find out how advanced they are with the technology. I don't think we have to stand back for them, but they are on top of these things. And they've got the budget to work on these things as well. So one of the interesting companies that is out there is called Magic Leap. They are one of the augmented reality glasses companies that have received a major investment under correction. I think it was like $4 billion before they, before they even started. They just had a concept. They basically got this money from some serious investors and Google as well. And then and that's the thing. So we think all the major tech comes from probably the USA or one of these countries, but Magic Leap is actually sort of a New Zealand company. So some of their key minds sits in New Zealand, and they've developed this device. So that is I think also there's a lot of talk in the industry at the moment. So we've got like virtual reality, we've got augmented reality, we've got XR, which is mixed reality. And the ideal, and I think that is where the industry is working to, is to create one device that looks good, that can do all these things. So you'll probably give a voice command and you will be inside VR. And then you'll give another voice command and you're outside VR. But then you've got the augmented reality overlaid onto that. So yeah, like I said, it's probably a long answer, but I think that the industry, there's no stop in the industry at the moment. It's like the smartphone. It's going to virtual reality and augmented reality is going to adapt, or it's going to become a GPS, a video camera, a computer, a radio station where we can sit in the radio station in VR. You can have an interview with me. I'm sitting at home or at the office. You're sitting here, but it feels like we are sitting in the studio doing that interview.
Well, I think that would excite my station manager there. Talk about gadgets now, devices. We've seen an influx of devices. I don't quite know yet how to classify Google Glass? Is it an AR? Is it a VR headset, or it's outside the
So,
scheme of things?
so interesting. Google Glasses. I think a lot of people perceive it as augmented reality glasses. I think it is very quickly moving into that direction, but it's a head-mounted display. So basically, what it does is it gives you a video feed into the side of your eye, which you can view and you can read from it. You can view videos. You can get directions on Google Maps and stuff like that.
Right.
So the technology weren't very accepted by the public. I think when people saw a person walking with Google glasses, they were thinking, is that person busy photographing me or filming me, or what is he doing with that glasses?
Right.
So then I think a lot of people think that Google glasses died out. But what they did is they went back to the drawing board, and then they went to corporates and warehouses and businesses that could really help, use this technology,
Right.
and they rolled it out to them. So on that side, Google Glass 2, it's now the next version, is actually very successful, and it's well received in that environment. So companies, courier companies, for instance, that need to do packaging sorting, they are using this glasses to assist the employees to speed up their work and make less mistakes and stuff like that. So yeah, that's Google Glass.
And then in terms of adoption, as I heard you say that the first take it failed. What distinguishes between a technology in terms of VR and XR that people are going to adopt against the technologies that usually fail?
So like I said, I think it was basically a privacy concern. People were not keen on seeing someone walking with glasses and being able to film them.
Right.
But I think with what happened with the smartphone industry is everyone is basically walking around and constantly have a good camera on them, and they can film anything that they want to at that time. So I think we have matured, and we accept that if we are in a public space, people are going to take photos of us. We are being monitored by security cameras and all that stuff all the time. So
Right.
I think let's call it 6-7 years later, people are more open-minded towards this technology. It's more accessible, and it's something that can potentially make us superhumans. So people can start using this technology, which also makes it attractive, and not that there's a funny guy walking around with this technology and they don't know what it's about. They can actually, in the near future, they will adopt it because it's valuable to them.
To put you on the spot a bit here, what are your favorite top three platforms for VR?
So, yeah, it's funny. I'm a game developer, but I stopped playing games and stuff. So I really don't have a favorite VR platform at the moment. But I think what is cool is, like, for instance, Netflix. So you can you can watch Netflix in a VR device. That is quite cool. So if you've got a small television set in VR, you can have it as big as you want. And with Netflix, with all their videos and stuff, it's quite cool. And then there's another platform that basically distributes VR games. It's actually the biggest platform for console games as well. So it's the Steam platform.
Right.
So yeah, so I love Steam. And then I think one of my best resources is actually Facebook. There's a virtual reality group on there.
Facebook Spaces?
Um, no, I haven't tried it.
Oh, okay. I was looking into Facebook Spaces. It's a cool platform.
So I know about Facebook Spaces. What is awesome is that what's basically happening, Mark,
Dan.
Mark,
My name is Dan.
No, Mark from
Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark
sorry.
Zuckerberg. Yes, thanks,
Sorry.
Dan. So Mark Zuckerberg basically bought Oculus.
Uh-huh.
So Oculus was uh, they are think of today as the company that started the interest in virtual reality again. So he purchased it. I can't remember the figure. I think it was also like 5 billion or something that they paid for Oculus. So Mark Zuckerberg